Hello and welcome to another arty update. It's not a crafty one again this week because I still haven't been doing any crafts at all. I've mostly been working with my Inktense pencils and on my Neurographic Zentangle Doodle work, so that's what I'm going to show you today. And rather than go through one book at a time, I thought this week I would show you everything in the order that I did it. But before I begin, last week I did briefly show these on camera, but I didn't talk through them. What I'd been doing was with those awful watercolour pencils, I was playing around with different backgrounds, and I will be putting up the results and the process of making these backgrounds up in a few weeks' time. And so this one I did a salt experiment with the watercolour pencils, and this one I did pencil shavings. So yeah, I forgot to talk about those last time, I apologise. So my first priority at the start of this fortnight was to finish off this doodle book, which I did. I only had 2 pages left. So I continued working with some of the Zentangle patterns, and these little tabs on the page are just ones that I like, that I'd like to use in some of the dragonfly drawings that I'm going to be doing. Just an experimental page really. And then this one, yeah, I think I was just desperate to finish up the book, but there you go. The full flip through of this sketchbook is now live on YouTube, so if you haven't seen that and would like to, then do check the link in the video description. So then I moved on to my regular sketchbook, and with this one, well, I showed you this one last time, and this was done with my really cheapo watercolour pencils, and over the top I added a little bit of Inktense. So I tried to recreate it just using the Inktense pencils, and I think you can already see that these colours are so much more vibrant than these ones. But I've still been struggling with mixing the colours up and getting the right colours to use. These are the 12 basic Inktense pencils that I've got, just in a regular set. And the nibs don't really always correlate with the colour that you're going to get. So one of the things I said I wanted to do was to do some swatching, so that's what I went on to do. So I took all of the colours and I mixed them up to give me a nice reference sheet on which colours to use to get these colours really. I have recorded this whole process of the blending and the swatching, and that will go live at some point in August. I'm not exactly sure of the date off the top of my head, but yeah, that's coming. So once I had these lovely swatching sheets to work from, and they have been absolutely invaluable to me. When I did these ones in my sketchbook a couple of weeks ago, I was really finding it so useful, but having them together on these 2 sheets is just, yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant for me to reference colours on the photographs to the colours on here, and then knowing which colours to mix and blend. So then I decided to try out this watercolour paper that I picked up. It's just a cheap watercolour pad. It cost £2 from Poundland, and it is 300 GSM paper, and it's textured, which is lovely. And again, I went and tried to recreate this river scene, trying to put into practice the things that I'd learned with the blending and the colours. And I do think that overall this picture is not bad. The issues that I had was I was trying to make some definition in the leaves, and I was trying to use the layering capabilities of these Inktense pencils, not with very much success, so I definitely need a bit more practice with that, but I was very pleased with that. So with my regular sketchbook, I have been avoiding it, to be quite honest with you, because I've only got a few pages left and I still haven't figured out what to do about getting a new one, because I can't find a nice sized book to use. But I did do a couple of little sketches. These were just quick sketches from some of my travels. We visited a lovely abbey in Thetford. And yeah, so these were just quick, like 15-20 minute sketches. And this one here, and on both of these I just used my gel pen and my watercolour paints. But that's all I've done in my regular sketchbook, and I've got 2 pages left, so yeah, I might have to go shopping at the weekend to see if I can find a new sketchbook, and that might mean a trip into town, which, yeah, I don't like going into town, but hey ho, needs must. Anyway, I did pop over to Poundland, and I did manage to pick up a couple more of these Doodle books. Last time I said that they didn't have any in stock, and when I popped in to get some kitchen foil, I found that they had 2 left in stock. Now this paper is watercolour paper. It's exactly the same watercolour paper as in this pad here, and it was fine for the Doodle book, but I think for the neurographic work I prefer having smoother paper rather than paper that's got a rippled watercolour edge. But it was fine for that Doodle book. Anyway, they only had 2 of these sketchbooks left, and I thought, well, they will be perfect for Inktense because it's watercolour paper, and in this type of sketchbook I can't use watercolour paint, so yeah, I thought this would be perfect. So yeah, I have been making some progress in here. I've only done 2 pictures, but they have taken quite a while to do. I'm still trying to get to grips with the foliage. I'm quite happy with the foliage up here, less so around here. And I quite like using this watercolour paper because the ridges and the texture in it do give a lovely effect. But again, I need a lot of practice with that, so I decided to practice. And this one, again, I'm quite happy with the colours in the background here. I'm quite happy with the foliage down the side, but the river and that is, yeah, not good. So I will continue practicing with my Inktense pencils, and yeah, hopefully I'll have a few more pages in this book finished, and let's see if I can master some foliage and some rivers, maybe. Right, what next? Well, after I did those, I thought I'd better get some neurographic work done. So that's what I've done. It's the new neurographic sketchbook that I've got. And the first page I've recorded the process, the full process, and that will go live on Tuesday. Really enjoy these circles. I love the way that they flow. I love the way that they look. Yeah, I really do want to do more of these. Well, I did one more. I didn't record this one, and I used my bad green ink on this one. It's simple, striking, but the colours need some work. Then I went back to a little bit more Zentangle. This one isn't particularly striking, but you know, it's practice, it's trying new things out. Then I did this one, and I made a mistake here in the pattern. And what usually happens when I make a mistake in one of my Neurographic or Zentangle drawings is I try and work it into the pattern, into the overall picture. I couldn't figure out how to do it on this one, so I just decided to try out different designs, and later on I'll show you how I develop those designs. But overall, the composition on that one, I quite like that. This page was less of a success. It's got some good concepts in it, but I couldn't really see how to bring the page together. So when I come up with a design that I like, I do tend to like to do them on a A4 page and for a full process video, especially if I haven't recorded, you know, the drawing I've done in the sketchbook. So I went back to one of my previous sketchbooks and I wanted to recreate one, and I went wrong. My brain, I was having a really, really bad day. I tried to fix it and yeah, that didn't work either. So I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with this one yet, but that was a complete and utter fail. It was supposed to look like this, and this one didn't fail. I was quite happy that, you know, this is a very simple design. I shouldn't have really made mistakes, but when I have a flare up, I am totally exhausted and my brain just doesn't work properly. So yeah, that's why I had a mishap on the other one. But yeah, I will see if I can salvage this, if I can do something else with it. Yeah, I haven't given up on it yet. But this one I did as a full process, so that will come up in August as well. Then I went back to my dragonflies and I thought I'd try doing one of the lovely little dragonflies, the Zentangle dragonflies, on a neurographic background. I'm really pleased with the dragonfly itself, but I don't think it works with those colours on the background. So I went back to try and do another dragonfly on a different background, and I kept getting this pattern wrong. Like, my brain just couldn't figure out which way to draw the lines on the background. So again, that's another fail this week, and I think that shows just that sometimes even drawing is too much for me. So I took a couple of days off at that point and I just rested. I rested up in bed and didn't do too much. I just did the bare necessities to cook, clean and wash, and yeah, had a couple of days off. Then I went back to the butterflies and I thought, I'm just going to draw a butterfly. So this is one of the watercolour backgrounds that I did couple of weeks ago with my watercolour paints, and I've overlaid it with one of my Zentangle dragonflies, and I really quite like this one. And because I'd done this, I took one of my other sheets of paper which I'd done a cling film background on, and I tried to do a neurographic picture on it. This one is less impressive, but it was still, you know, a half-hour relaxing little thing to do. So these next two I also have recorded as a full process to go up in August, so do check those out on the following Tuesdays. So this one was me going back to this design, and I basically just took the design with the spirals in green, the vertical spirals, and then I did another one with the horizontal spirals. Now I really do like that kind of pattern and design. I think I prefer this one over this one. I may even do a few more in different colours as well, because yeah, something about those ones are saying do more, do more. And so then I went on to trying to figure out this background. My head was in a better space. I made one mistake up here with the background, but other than that, the background's fine. And overall, I think the composition and the background work fine. I like the dragonfly, and I think with these dragonflies, the key is to keep the background simple. So do expect to see a few more of these dragonflies over the next few months. I am really enjoying doing these, but the trick for me is to figure out the background. So I'll probably do a few more exploratory sketches or drawings in this sketchbook, and then once I've finalised and are happy with the backgrounds, I will probably do them as a full process as well. So that is it. I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages in that sketchbook, 2 pages in that sketchbook, 3 pages in that sketchbook, and a handful of other neurographic pictures. As for me, well, yeah, I'm still waiting on hospital appointments. I'm due some, but they're just late coming through. I'm a month late to see rheumatology, and the dermatology one I'm due any day, and I fully expect that to be late as well. So no news on that one. The steroids are still doing their thing on my face, which is fantastic. But yeah, other than having a few low days where I'm having a few flare-ups, you know, I'm managing, it's fine. I've had a couple of lovely, wonderful trips out where I've taken lots of photographs for things that I can draw over the next few weeks and months. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me this week. I hope there might be a little something in there that's given you a little nudge or creative inspiration. And do give me a thumbs up if you've made it this far. Your support is genuinely most gratefully received. And do let me know if you're working on anything special at the moment, and if you've got any tips or tricks to share, just pop them in the comments below. And I'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another chatty one, but in the meantime, there will be plenty of other content to come.